Some of you might remember there was a period a few months ago where Anbernic was announcing new products basically every week, and that was a bit much, and they've slowed down as of recently because it seems like they finally have updated all their products. But as of recently, Anbernic has announced a new device, the Anbernic RG40XX. And if you're familiar with their other XX line of devices, this means the device has about a 4-inch screen, which is a larger compared to the previous models that they had, and potentially uses the same H700 chipset, which for me would be rather disappointing because it would just feel and run all the games the exact same way, just in a slightly different form factor, a design akin to the Anbernic RG Cube. Which, don't get me wrong, that's a cool device, but not something I would want particularly for this sort of a product. And overall, I'm not quite sure how this device is supposed to fit in their product stack. It's just a slightly different screen aspect ratio in comparison to the H and the Plus models, so it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for anybody who already owns any of those devices to buy this one unless they want the slightly larger screen with a slightly squarer aspect ratio to make 4x3 games a little bit more enjoyable to play. Unless you're only going to be playing games from like the N64 on this thing, I don't really see why you would want to buy this thing when you couldn't buy the Anbernic RG40XX H. Would offer potentially the same performance, just smaller and not exactly the best screen for it, but who cares? It's like $65. Something they could do to make this a little bit more intriguing is to put in the Unisoc T820 chip. That's the same chip that they used in the Anbernic RG556, which I've made a few videos talking about this point, and that device offers an amazing performance per dollar value, and competes with the likes of the Retro Pocket 4 and 4 Pro, being capable of up to GameCube and PS2 emulation, and even very light Nintendo Switch emulation. So seeing this as a sort of like budget, like mid-range option, I would like to see the T820 chipset make its way to this device. Thanks to having the larger screen, it could afford maybe having active cooling for better performance. So you could actually realistically use this thing for more than just the basic emulation people have been doing with their XX line of devices so far. That'd be a good way to differentiate this product from all of their other ones, because they don't really have a solid budget powerhouse of a device. They have a bunch of devices that fit specific niches, but none of them are small and powerful in a way that allows you to play GameCube and PS2 and Switch emulation. So that's something that I'm really excited to see. If they do put the T820 chipset, which is what I'm hoping for, it would be a compelling small option, because the only other pocketable devices that I can think of are the Retro Pocket 4 and 4 Pro and the Ein Odin 2 Mini, which that one isn't super pocketable. It is on the thicker side of things, like a PS Vita Fat, That thing isn't not pocketable, but it isn't exactly nice to have in your pocket. Same thing goes for the 556. It isn't not portable or anything like that, but it's just not nice to have in your pocket. So having something like this potentially be more pocketable would be phenomenal. And this device would be able to separate itself from the 556 by offering that square aspect ratio while still maintaining its same level of performance and having an increased level of portability. And looking at the video that they uploaded testing this device, it looks like it should perform quite well, but nothing really stands out as, wow, this thing is truly a powerhouse. It's just missing that extra bit of performance that I really think would make this device a truly good value. If it did have that T820 chipset, I would probably expect to pay somewhere between $150, $125, because the small size should lower the cost of this a bit, because the standard 556 comes around $185. So being around $150 to maybe $135 would make a big difference for this product, though it might cannibalize the 556's sales. And if this device does come with that T820 chipset, it would become the new default recommendation. Currently, I recommend a handful of different devices that covers everybody's base depending on what person I'm talking to has in mind for their emulation device. But using this device, assuming it comes with the T820, would be perfect. It'd have the perfect combination of portability, size, performance, and, controls to allow you to play basically anything you would want at a reasonable level of performance and covering all your bases, with it being even more portable than the previous ones I would recommend in the past. So I feel like most important to this device would be its performance, because if it sticks to that same H700 chipset, it's just going to sort of get lost in the mix. It doesn't make a lot of sense for people who would already own it. People wouldn't buy this thing over the other two because inevitably those would be cheaper when this comes out for a long time, so it doesn't make any sense financially to buy this one. And it doesn't offer anything unique outside of its square or aspect ratio, and if that's what you wanted, you probably would have bought like the Anbernic RG40XX Plus or the other non-Plus version of it, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. I really love Anbernic devices, though sometimes their operating systems can be rather garbage. I genuinely do enjoy them, but they have this tendency to release too many devices all at once or throughout the year just too close to each other. And it gets kind of annoying because maybe that next device would have been perfect for somebody, but they bought too soon or they waited too long and it got replaced by something else. It's just really annoying as a creator in this space to talk about Anbernic devices sometimes on the basis that they release so many of these devices every year, and all of them are only slightly different, offering slightly different features. So the only way I can realistically recommend or even consider talking about this device again is if it has that T820 chipset. Otherwise, this device just will be another one of those H700 based systems that they sell that I'll randomly talk about from time to time, but never really consider as a serious option, just because of how many devices that they have that are functionally the same. Come with that H700 chipset, I would hope it would cost less than $100. If it costs more than that, this device would be instant thrown in the garbage for me, because those other H700 chipset devices are all sub $100, some of them even sub $50, depending on the sales at the time. So realistically, if this does maintain that same course of H700 chipset devices, it should be around $65 to $70, depending on capacities and whatnot and taxes and all that jazz. So hopefully that this device comes out with that T820 chipset, but what is more than likely, it will have that T820 chipset, which would be rather disappointing if it comes with that H700 chipset. And comparing it to the other devices around it, if it does maintain that H700 chipset, it just be kind of boring, even when you compare it to other devices from other companies. We're talking like Powkitty and Miu, all those other companies would be offering similar devices, doing similar things at that price point. You could find alternatives that better fit what you need if it maintains that H700 chipset. But if it uses the T820, very few companies are in that sort of performance tier at that price point. So if they go around at like the $150 to $135 price point with the T820, they're in a pretty good spot for this to be a value king. So hopefully that's what they go for, but my expectations are quite low because this is Anbernic we're talking about. They can probably literally do this exact thing, but they probably won't because they do not care. Now that we've reached the end of the video, sorry about the more rambling nature of this video. I got really busy and I couldn't fully finish the script out for this one, so thanks again for watching, and I would love to hear what you guys think about this device. Are you interested in the device if it comes with the H700, or do you hope it comes with the T820? Because if not, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other social media coverage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.